to calls.
Yeah.
And you want to start with one that might have been referenced in the postcard. Yeah.
Why not?
Jonathan in Kentucky, you are on with Jim and Matt. How are you?
Wow, yeah, I'm good. I was a little surprised being the first person. Yeah, I'm good. Hold on.
Hold on.
Hold
I had
on.
to take it off speaker.
That's usually my job.
I had to take it off speaker.
We're holding.
you there?
We're holding.
We're holding. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, how you doing? First-time caller, long-time listener. I was just calling because, you've been talking, about slavery. And
Once or twice, yeah.
At least.
Yeah, I wanted to explore the moral question of slavery.
Is there a moral question anymore? Because
I believe there is.
the thing that I'm objecting to is the idea that it is morally permissible to own another person as property, so that you are violating.
And I would agree.
Okay, you agree. So,
And I would agree in today's society, yes.
in any society.
Well, if you look at the Bronze Age Middle East,
Okay.
there's all sorts of wars and raids going on.
Yep.
So you're going to have prisoners of war.
Yeah, prisoners of war, and we've learned in modern times better ways of treating prisoners of war, and at no point does taking a prisoner of war, once the war is over, mean that it becomes morally permissible to keep them as slaves.
All right. And also the idea that they were just prisoners of war is not right either.
Yeah, no, it specifically says buy your slaves from the heathen around you. But the point is that once the war is over, prisoners of war are no longer prisoners of war. And if you claim that it's morally permissible to keep them as slaves, then what you've done is provide another motivation to go to war. We need more slave workers, so we will go and attack this other county, town, civilization, whatever, kill off a bunch of people, take them as prisoners of war, and then make them slaves. None of that's moral.
Right.
Right. But
So
what I'm saying is you have the prisoners, you have to do something with them. If you are, like I'm saying, a Bronze Age Middle Eastern city, and we both know these weren't big cities, you don't have a lot of resources.
Okay.
You cannot just put them in a barracks for 2 years.
Okay. How does that justify
So what I'm
making them
saying
slaves?
is, under normal circumstances, the most simple thing to do would be to kill them.
Yeah, and that's probably what happened most of the time, especially when in the biblical wars, it was go and kill everybody but keep the women and children.
Probable non-existence. I would think that rather than kill them, to make them into slavery would be a moral choice.
No, don't get me wrong. If you're saying, would it be more moral for me to kill someone or make them my slave? I think you could probably have an argument there, and I think it could potentially go either way. But that doesn't make either one of them moral actions.
Yeah,
the fact that you're saying this is better than the alternative doesn't mean it rises to the status of being morally permissible.
And if it's moral then, why is it not moral now? What changed? Because ethics shouldn't change.
Maslow's hierarchy. We are higher on the hierarchy.
What hierarchy?
People are not generally starving in the wilderness.
No.
Yeah, I would disagree. We have people starving in Africa. There are people starving here
on 6th Street.
Yeah, down on 6th Street here. I mean, I can point. There's a number of places where we have pretty much those exact conditions.
But the thing is, all of those things you point to, none of that makes slavery moral.
It's not an absolute moral, but I believe
it's not even on the plus side.
Of the choices that were available at the time, it was the most moral choice.
Did they have the choice to let them go after the fighting was over? Was that a choice available to? Was that a choice available to them?
You see, the thing is,
you're saying they didn't have that choice. They could not have made that choice. You're full of shit.
Okay,
You're talking about tribal warfare.
Wars
in the Middle
Jonathan,
East that have been going on for 2,000 years.
Jonathan, you're saying they did not have a choice, they had no choice that included letting them go after hostilities were over. That's a lie.
Well, of course, they had the choice. But
of course they did. That's why I asked the fucking question.
That would have been the worst choice.
That was
Why?
the worst choice for whom?
Why?
For the people making the choice.
Why would that be the worst choice for the victors?
Because you have tribal warfare.
They
It's
just
not
had a
like
war.
World
They
War
just had a
II.
war. They wiped out the enemy tribe. There's nothing left. Why not let them go?
You don't think that the people you let go would be unhappy that you wiped out their whole tribe?
Sure.
Sure.
You don't think that they might actually come back
With what?
and kill some of your own people?
With what?
With what? And when? And don't you deal with that situation? See, the thing is, no, Jonathan, what you do is, and this is what we've learned how they did it wrong. That's the thing that you're missing. So once the hostilities are over, prisoners of war are released, and you set up new treaties, new agreements. You try to build things in a more cooperative. If they are in fact the aggressors, the continued aggressors, and you're continually fighting them off, this is the way you do it. Well, the only scenario where this kind of works in your interest is if you're the aggressor, if you're the one that's going out trying to take over shit, and that's why they're pissed off.
And Matt, so the real problem is that they weren't as advanced. They didn't understand how to negotiate necessarily in a way that would actually work, or to non-violently solve their problems. So if you have a omnipotent or maximally powerful God who knows better and is dad, isn't it his responsibility to teach his children how to negotiate, how to live in peace with their neighbors, and to act ethically? And yet he doesn't? Isn't that a problem?
Is that for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually it is.
Okay.
And
So
I believe that the Bible is far lacking in many things. As a matter of fact, I'm an atheist. I see this as, morally, this is a gray area.
well, no. So
Oh, okay,
rather-
okay. Yes, it's a gray. It's on the incredibly dark side of gray, though. The fact that you can come up with a scenario where you have a false dichotomy of saying there were only two options, kill them or enslave them, and isn't slavery preferable? First of all, I think there are people who would disagree, that they would rather die than be denied their freedom.
absolutely, especially the slavery back then. But since you're an atheist,
Okay, and I was always open to them.
let's take the Bible out of this, because Aristotle has something to say about it. If you want to go back that far, and he says that that some should rule and others be ruled is a thing not only necessary but expedient. From the hour of their birth, some are marked out for subjections, others for rule. That's his justification for slavery. Has absolutely nothing to do with your argument about prisoners of war, and simply says that, hey, some people are slaves, some people aren't. It's the natural order of things. And we make a tremendous number of arguments that he's completely wrong on this. But what you're saying is not what we see from Aristotle. It's not what we see from Plato or Homer. It's not any of these old Greek philosophers who are trying to justify slavery and fail.
They're trying to justify slavery. What you've done is just say, here's two things, which one's better? And my answer is, it doesn't matter which one's better. If they are both, in fact, immoral, I'm correct in saying that they're both immoral.
Right.
Yes. What I'm saying, all I'm saying is simply that there is no absolute moral, perfect.
There's no
There's
perfect.
all shades.
I
So
think
at the time, this is my view, is at the time, this was the most moral position that they could take.
Would you rather have cancer or athlete's foot?
I'd rather have athlete's foot.
Sure. Is athlete's foot healthy?
No.
No. That's my case. I'm saying athlete's foot is bad, and you're calling in to say it's better than cancer. And my response is,
It is.
so the fuck what?
right. Choosing the lesser of two evils is still evil. You're still choosing evil one way or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Well,
if your response is,
that's
well,
what I'm saying.
nobody's perfectly healthy, that's not even a relevant attempt at a response to what my position is, which is athlete's foot isn't healthy.
No, I understand.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
Thanks. Oh, you're speaking of healthy. Did you hear that the average body temperature has actually gone down from 98.7?
No?
Yeah, the average. They're saying that that was created in the late 1800s when people were less healthy than they are today, and so they were warmer. And we're starting to see averages starting to drop.
And maybe they weren't sitting in air conditioning all the time.
Could be that too.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Where are we going to go next?
Well, I